Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Wagner, and I'm the Communications Director for the California Association for Nurse Practitioners. I'd like to thank you all for joining us for this special CANP webinar presentation, Social Media, a Valuable Tool for Grassroots Advocacy. Tonight's program will feature Tina Reynolds and Ladra Johnson of Uptown Studios, CANP's social media partner. If you happen to catch the social media session at CANP's recent conference in March, then you know you're in for an engaging, entertaining, and highly informative presentation from this dynamic team. And if you missed that conference session, prepare to be energized and inspired. Before we begin, I want to point out that we do invite questions from the audience. If you have a question, please submit it using the questions module that you will find as part of the webinar control panel that appears on your screen. I will be collecting questions throughout the program, and we will answer them as time permits. I'd also like to take this opportunity to remind you about something that's germane to our topic this evening, and that is that CANP Lobby Day takes place next Tuesday in Sacramento. Lobby Day is your chance to join more than 150 of your colleagues to form a vocal and visible presence at the state capitol in support of full practice authority. We look forward to seeing many of you there. If you haven't yet registered for Lobby Day, there's still time. Visit our website at canpweb.org for more details. With that, I'm very happy to introduce Tina Reynolds, founder, principal, and owner of Uptown Studios, and Ladra Johnson, Uptown's marketing director. Good evening, Tina and Ladra.
Hey, everybody. How are you? We're so happy to be here. It's a great way for us to spend an evening for some of our favorite nurse practitioners. I am the owner of Uptown Studios, and we have been in business since 1992 and doing some serious social media since 2008. And we're really happy to be here to help teach you how to use this as a tool. I'd like to introduce Ladra Johnson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ladra Johnson. I'm the marketing director here at Uptown Studios, and tonight we're going to be talking about social media as a grassroots advocacy tool. Here at Uptown Studios, we're all about designing for social change, so this fits perfectly in with our goal as an organization to help people build awareness of their causes. So we will get started. So tonight's discussion points are really going to cover why social media, how to use social media to communicate and influence. We're going to talk a little bit about the Selfie campaign that we ran right before the conference, as well as the hashtag SB323. This conversation is going to help us take a look at social media in action, which is really the goal of tonight's webinar. We're also going to do a quick overview of the channels that CANP is using and how you can join the conversation. Please, if you are familiar with Twitter, go ahead and tweet during this. We will be tracking the hashtag SB323.
So when we're really talking about the NP Selfie campaign and the SB323, it was such a success. The people that took part of it were really engaged, and it really made a difference. And I think that it starts out small, but the way that a campaign changes is by people engaging, and social media is the easiest way to engage these days. So we're going to show you how to do that.
So why social media? Kind of the big question of the night. Social media really allows us to bridge gaps. It provides us access, transparency, real-time conversation, and power in numbers. So this image here, and we'll actually pull up live screens of each of the social media channels a little bit later, but what this is showing is that these are assembly members and legislators and senators all on Twitter. This is just one channel example of this, but we suddenly, through this social media, have access to all these legislators, and even though we could go visit them in person, we're still advocating for that to be your first and most important measure of communication. Social media gives us a way to follow up and a way to access these people without necessarily being there in person.
So, excuse me, when we're talking about access, each of these people and all of your people have staff members that are monitoring their social media. So when they're mentioned, their job is to respond. So it's not just access, it's really close to immediate access. If you have a situation that you need answered by your assemblywoman or assemblyman or a congressman, you can ask the question and they're going to respond back saying, I'll get back to you, or send me an email, or they want to connect with you. They really want to connect with you. So this is quite a great way to connect with your policy and decision makers.
Absolutely. And when we talk about transparency, this is really important to note, because anything that you post on social media is transparent, and therefore they can see what you're asking them, but people can also see how they respond or if they don't respond. So it's a great way to create conversation and get people involved, because they want to look like they're responding. They want to be a part of the conversation. They don't want to appear like they're ignoring the conversation. So that's where the power in numbers comes in.
And the real-time conversation, it is, Twitter is the space that happens really quickly. Many people that are on the Twitterverse are talking to each other and having conversations in real time about real subjects and coming up to solutions or resolutions or not. And when they don't, that's when your team of people that are joining this conversation can start to push them and put pressure on them to answer the question. It's not just one person, then other people can take up the hashtag and push the conversation so that you're getting the answers that you need.
And again, before we move forward, I want to reiterate that social media should be in addition to your in-person communication and advocacy. We still want you to go visit your legislators and educate them on the importance right now of SB 323, but moving forward, whatever you're advocating for. But social media supplements that communication and lets you kind of keep tapping and saying, hey, you know, I'm here, I'm still talking about this, this is really important.
So we create that stickiness with all of the things that we do. And Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, website, phone calls, letters, face-to-face meetings, it's all part of that wholeness of a campaign, where if they get hit enough times, guess what? They're going to remember you. And then they're going to start to say, oh, who are these people? We need to take care of them. And that's what we want. We want them to know that you have a voice. And you have a big enough voice that you're going to bug them. You're going to poke them on a regular basis.
So we're going to briefly talk about the MP Selfie Campaign. Hopefully everybody on this webinar at least witnessed how awesome that campaign was. So just quickly to recap it for anybody that didn't see it, we had an entry period in late January to early February where we asked MPs, nurse practitioners, it could be nurse practitioner students as well, to take a selfie of themselves holding a sign that explained why they were proud to be an MP. These photos were then entered into a photo gallery, which was opened up to a voting period in early February. And what was really great about this is not only did we see so many beautiful reasons to be proud of being a nurse practitioner, we saw a lot of engagement between nurse practitioners, really rooting each other on, saying, wow, that's a great photo. There were 35 entries and over 3,000 votes, which is really great. It shows just how engaged this group really is. And it got national attention. So that's the kind of thing we want to see, that all of these great reasons to be proud of being a nurse practitioner really help hone in on that message of why nurse practitioners are so important, which just goes to the bigger message that we're talking about tonight of advocating for nurse practitioners.
And when you have national attention, it automatically puts you into the position of leadership. And in California, we like to think that we're leading the nation. So with that national attention and with those other states retweeting the things that we were tweeting, it positions us, California MPs, as the leader in the nation. So it was really quite quite a trending thing that caught the attention of all of the other associations. So you did a great job.
And if you weren't on social media while this was happening and you haven't had a chance to check us out, please go look at CAMP's Facebook page. All of the entries are on there. They're still open for comments. Sure, the voting period has ended and the contest itself has ended, but again, there were some really great reasons to be proud, and we encourage everyone to keep sharing those selfies and just keep sharing why you're proud. That's a great way to engage on social media. And here are some of the great selfies. Again, you can go see these and enlarge them on Facebook and really see the engagement that's taking place and add your own comments. some really great photos in here. So now we're going to talk about Facebook. Today we're going to be talking about the channels that CAMP is on, and that's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're really going to focus in on Twitter, but we want to make sure to touch each of the channels and talk about how you can get involved. So we'll start with Facebook. Facebook is a really great channel for community building. Again, the conversations are transparent and they're really affected by numbers, so there is that power in numbers idea. And they also help us stay connected. A lot of us started with a Facebook because we had our personal Facebook and we wanted to stay involved with our family, our friends, or grandparents, grandchildren, whatever it is. We had a personal Facebook, so we understand how to use it. Now we see organizations and businesses on Facebook, and that's what CAMP is doing, is they're using it from that organization standpoint. But really, at the end of the day, the goal of the organization is still to communicate with all the people within that organization, the members within that organization. So it is about community building, and it's there for you. It's a transparent platform for you to ask questions and you to get information and for you to engage.
So when we're talking about community on Facebook, we're also talking that I would say of the people that we talked to down at the conference, probably 90 to 95% have a Facebook page. So by and large, Facebook is the major channel that people are getting used to this as their social media channel. And the idea behind this is that it is a social media channel. So we want you to be social on this. We want you to have a personality and to talk about your experience. To post on the CANP Facebook page your thoughts and make comments to the other posts that are being made here, so that as you support and grow, so does the page, so does the issue, so does the power, and then pretty soon you are pushing the agenda through your social media and getting the awareness built through the groups, through the members.
And CAMP's Facebook, as you can see, it's got over 2,000 people on it, so that's a great membership base for you to tap into and communicate with others. One of the things we want to encourage everyone to do, everyone with a Facebook who wants to join the conversation, which I'm guessing since you're here you do, is go directly to the CAMP Facebook page and post your comments. You can actually share directly onto the page photos of you meeting with your legislators and what you're doing to advocate for SB 323. And if you share on that page, we'll make sure to share it out from CAMP so that everybody can see it, and so that we're really building this conversation and showing just how much you all care as members and as nurse practitioners.
Right. And on Facebook, we can't post to your page, but you can post to the CAMP page, which is really important because then it shows that there's interaction, there's activity going on, and you start talking to each other, and you start building this voice through the CAMP, and that voice gets pushed out to your legislators. Okay, here we go.
So this is just an example of how powerful Facebook can be as one of the social media channels. We made this one post, and I mentioned earlier that CAMP has about 2,000 followers, just over 2,000 likes. This one post reached over 10,000 people because of the members that shared it and liked it and commented on it. And that's huge. That really shows you how one post can go viral, and how cool is it that it was a post about SB 323, which is really what we're talking about tonight. So I wanted to make sure to share this because that's exactly why we use social media. A transparent conversation that has the opportunity to go viral. These 10,000 people are probably in very different places, but they're all sharing a common interest, and that's this SB 323 information.
So that's really the power in numbers. So when you see a post that's from CAMP promoting something, and you are in this to win this, sharing and commenting are the best things that you can do. Once you share it, it goes out to all the people that are following you on your personal page, and then it becomes a string that can grow to 10,788 people reached. Who knows what the next post will be?
Are there any questions on Facebook at this point? Please feel free to chat your questions. There's a little area where you should be able to type your messages in, and we'll be able to see them, and that way we can make sure to pause kind of in between channels. And again, we'll answer questions at the end of the session, but please feel free to chat them during the webinar as well.
Yeah, this is the difference of being face-to-face and online. I can see your hands raising, but I can't read your questions. So type your questions in there, and we'll be happy to answer them. It is a complicated system that we're trying to make simple for you so that you can engage.
All right, it doesn't look like there are any Facebook questions at this time, and please don't be shy, even if it's as simple as how do I like a page or comment on a post. We can certainly pull up the windows and show you anything live, so take advantage of that. We're here to help you.
Actually, Ladra, I have received a few questions here, and I'll try to condense them here. What about linking the Facebook page to the Twitter account? What are the pros and cons to that? Asks Melanie Phipps.
Awesome, Melanie, that's a great question. We hear of people doing this a lot. It's usually something we recommend against, simply because Facebook and Twitter are very different languages. Most obviously, Twitter is only 140 characters, where Facebook you can kind of keep going and going and going. So if your Facebook post automatically posts to your Twitter wall, it's going to get cut off if it goes over 140 characters and then linked to Facebook. And it's for those people that are on Twitter that don't want to be on Facebook, they may not be able to read the rest of your message because they don't actually have a Facebook page. So you can post very similar messages, but we do recommend posting to the channels individually.
Just reword your Facebook post and shorten it, and then post the same guts of the message on your Twitter account. It comes across better. It looks like you are customizing everything, and people will stay on the channel. Also, if you just copy a post onto Twitter, I would have to leave my Twitter account and go over to Facebook to read the rest of it if I wanted to. So once you're on Twitter, you want to keep people on Twitter. Once you're on Facebook, you want to keep people on Facebook. You don't want to make people jump around. Were there other questions, Jeff?
Yeah, there's a couple other questions here. We'll try to get through these quickly here. What about liking legislators on Facebook? Is Facebook also good for targeting legislators?
Yes, it absolutely is. We do definitely focus on Twitter because the difference between Twitter and Facebook is often people will have profiles on Facebook rather than a page. So the difference between a Facebook profile and a page is that your profile is your personal profile where you can send friend requests and accept friend requests, but the public page, you don't have control over who likes your page. So if legislators have public pages, I 100% recommend liking that page and communicating with them on Facebook as a public platform. If it's one of their personal profiles, it's a little bit harder because they may or may not accept your friend request, depending on if they actually know you and if they're actually using that page to promote their political side or their personal life.
And if it is a public page, by liking them, it doesn't mean that you're endorsing them. It means that you're opening up the lines of a communication. So don't think that you're endorsing somebody, because some of the people that you need to convince are not the people that you would vote for. So you want to make sure that you're pushing everyone in the direction that you want to push them in. And you do that by the power of the people contacting the legislators and pushing them.
Okay, and then we have just one more quick Facebook-related question. It
Sure.
just says, so like and share should both be done on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes.
Sharing is awesome. Sharing is a way of taking the message that CAMP posted or whoever that you're sharing from and broadcasting it to all of your friends. And so it's taking a message and literally sharing it with all your friends. Liking it's great, and we encourage you to like things. It's sort of a thumbs up, but if you are looking at which one is more valuable, sharing the message is certainly going to get it before the eyes of more people.
And commenting is above liking also. The thumbs up is just a thumbs up, and it doesn't really increase your capability to communicate. Comments are great, and sharing is the best. So, and a share is just as simple as you can hit the share button and you don't even have to say anything. But it's also to say, I'm a member of this organization, this is great. Something like that in your comments when you share.
And do you advise liking all legislators or just ones that are being supportive?
On Facebook, I think since most of us are using Facebook as our personal profiles, I understand being more comfortable liking the ones that you support. You can still publicly see what people are posting even if you don't like their page. So I would probably say the ones that are being supportive from your personal pages. From your business page, you may take a different tactic.
If you want to have a conversation, with a legislator that's maybe on the fence about SB 323, maybe it's time to like them and start the conversation and say, you'll get my vote if you move towards this legislation. This is so important. You want to have those conversations with the people you may not agree with, and social media is a pretty safe place to do that. So it's a personal thing. So if I have somebody that's politically far away from my political views, but I'm trying to convince them to vote for something, I may want to follow them and start a conversation with them. So it can be a very powerful thing because they want to hear from you. They want to hear from everyone.
Any other Facebook questions?
I'm going to slip one more in here on you just real quickly, but then I think we're going to need to move on. The last question I have is, how do we know if a Facebook page is a public page?
So if it's a page, you have the option to like it. If it's a personal profile, so right here on the screen, you'll see the thumbs up and the like. That means it's a public page. If you have to request a friendship, you send a friend request, that's how you know it's a profile.
So
okay.
On your personal page, you really do control who you let into your personal information. I can say, no, I don't want these people. I'm not going to let these people join my page. You have all that control. But when it's a business page, you can't. Anybody that wants to follow can follow. And the best that you can do if someone is really being negative is to block their comments. But most of you out there are working from personal pages. And all of the business pages for the legislators, they want to have your action on their pages. So they would be happy to have you making comments about things.
Okay. We're going to move on to Twitter. If there are still Facebook questions and we have time at the end, certainly please keep chatting those questions over and we'll try to address them at the end. But we want to make sure to leave plenty of time for Twitter because it is where we see most of the questions come up. So Twitter, one of the major differences between Twitter and Facebook is the speed and the access. So there isn't a separation between your personal profile on Twitter and a public page. It's all public unless you can set your Twitter to private, but you'll know if somebody's Twitter is private because you simply will not be able to see anything they post unless you're connected. So the majority of pages we see are public. On Twitter, you engage by following. We highly encourage you to follow CANP. We encourage you to follow all other CANP members. We encourage you to follow all legislators. It really says, hey, I'm watching you, or hey, I'm part of this conversation. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are endorsing who you follow. You also engage by retweeting, which is basically Twitter's way of saying share. We talked about sharing on Facebook earlier. It's a way of taking somebody else's message and posting it to your fans. You can also tag pages. So that's the @sign. So you'll see here in this top tweet the @CANP. That one's not actually a handle of anybody's page, so that's why it didn't link. But if you look at the one right below, you'll see @Uptown Studios. And what that does is it notifies us, Uptown Studios, that we've been tagged in a message, and then we can share it, favorite it, retweet it. It also provides more information to the viewer, so they can click on that @Uptown Studios and learn more about Uptown Studios. Most of what we're going to be doing tonight is looking at tagging pages and using hashtags to build this engagement and to increase the number of people following you and retweeting you. So I'm going to quickly go through the rest of this list, but then I'm going to open up to a live Twitter screen and kind of show you guys how it all works.
And maybe we can get you to do some live tweeting too.
So quickly going through the rest of this, the power of lists. You can create lists on Twitter. So if you're following 996 people like CAMP does. The list of updates goes by very quickly, but we've compiled specific lists of all legislators or of CAMP members. You can actually see what those people are specifically saying, and I'll show you that on the live Twitter screen.
And when we get in there, then we'll also show you how you can start adding followers to your own Twitter handles just by clicking on our list and then following all those people. Because what we're trying to do is position ourselves as a very reliable source for you to find people to follow and to follow them.
And finding influencers. Again, Twitter is a transparent conversation platform. CAMP has a list, if you go to their page, of legislators. Finding and following them is one of the first steps. So there are tons of influencers on social media, and on Twitter specifically is what we're looking at right now. And it's really important to follow them, to share their messages if they're messages of support, or to ask them questions if they're against it. Whatever way you want to engage, they'll see it. It's transparent.
Well, it's a great way to find other nurse practitioners so that you can start building friends and relationships through Twitter. And they're all going to be on these pages, and then you start setting up separate relationships with them.
So I wanted to make sure to share this quote because I think it's pretty powerful. Of the 7,383 state legislators in the United States, 35%, or 2,622, had a Twitter account at the start of 2014. Usage increases with every election cycle. There are 4% more state legislators on Twitter today than before the 2012 election, and I've watched that increase even more. We don't have a more recent quote on it, but we've seen the Pew studies, and numbers continue to go up. So California has the greatest percentage of state legislators, and more than 83%, and they're on Twitter.
So 83% access to the state legislators. They're there, and they're actively watching their accounts, and they're responding, and they're posting, and they're sharing, and it is the perfect way to connect with them. It's probably the top way to connect with them. The best way is that handshake when you walk in and shake their hands and introduce yourself. But very next is the Twitter connections and the Facebook connections. They're going to listen.
So hopefully everyone signed up for Twitter before this training, because we do want to have a little bit of a Twitter challenge now to keep building the buzz around SB 323. So we're going to ask everybody with a Twitter account to tweet why you think SB 323 is vital for California, and to include the hashtag SB 323 and to tag your local legislators. You can also tag California MP by entering @California MP if you want us to see it, but if you run out of 140 characters, the hashtag SB 323 will be enough.
Yeah, we're following that channel, so we can see all the conversations that are happening that have that hashtag SB 323.
So I'm gonna switch screens now over the Twitter, so I hope that people are tweeting. Let's get some tweets out there. Ooh, look at that. See, there's already people tweeting. This is an awesome example. If you see over here on the right-hand side, there's already a couple tweets out there using SB 323 talking about this webinar. So let's keep them going.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Karen. So we're gonna post a little something so that you can see how it happens, and then we'll have this live little Melanie. Thank you. Here we go. So now the screen is from the CAMP live Twitter feed. Is that where we are? Are we on the live one?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So when she just clicked on hashtag SB 323. So anytime any conversation has SB 323 in it, it's going to show up on this long line of posts that people have mentioned this hashtag. So hashtag means I'm finding the conversation that is about SB 323. So now there's a lot of people that use hashtags for really crazy stuff, but when you're using it for business, it's a very strong tool to follow conversations and to join conversations and to lead conversations.
So I'm not going to get to everyone because you guys are just going to keep on being awesome and keep tweeting, but I do want to show how easy it is for me to just retweet and thank you, Karen, for sharing, and that's right there. I'm going to tweet this out and boom, engagement.
Yeah.
Wow, look at you guys go.
Thanks, Pam and Diana and Cynthia, Barbara. Oh, look at all you. You're going to be experts. So
retweet. It's as easy as that little retweet button.
So the retweet.
You guys go. So you can see that the Twitter feed's a little bit slower over here than on the tweet deck, but you can see, I mean, just in the past 55 seconds, how many people are tweeting. I want to keep that going. That's awesome. And if anybody on here doesn't already have a Twitter account, the CANP social media playbook includes a link to set up your own Twitter account. And I know that one was sent out before this webinar, but if you are having any trouble setting up your Twitter account or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Tina or to me, Ladra, at uptownstudios.net, and we can certainly answer your questions.
We're happy to.
Love that. Great work tagging your legislators.
So Pam, at Bill Dodd CA. Now let's click on that and show them how we can get to there. So just by clicking on that link, it takes us to his page, and we can see more of the subject matter that he's talking about. But he's going to be talking about stuff that you really want to follow, and then make him start talking about 323, because that's what we want him to do. Maybe he isn't ready to take a position on it, but he can start the conversation, and then we can all get him and convince him.
So I encourage everyone to go in there and retweet each other too. So retweet the important things that your fellow MPs and members of CAMP are saying, help start the conversation. So here's that retweet option we talked about earlier, and you can see that you can now add a comment to retweets or simply just retweet it straight on your page. You can reply right here. So if I had a question for Melanie, I could post it right here, or a comment that just said, awesome, thanks, Melanie. I could do it right there. You can favorite it. Whatever you want to do, it's all helping build engagement. Again, the retweeting and the commenting are the most engagement building.
The star click is like a thumbs up. It's just saying that you support it, but it really doesn't help so much with your engagement and your numbers. Another thing is I like to click on these names, like right here, Diane, click on those names. I can see I'm not following, so I want to follow them. These are new people. So we're going to start following all these people. And then, so Barbara, yours is up here, and it's really much more effective if we can load a photo for you. If you could get a photo in there, it says that you're in that next step of becoming more official. So
Barbara, was that your first tweet? That's awesome. Congratulations. Welcome to Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're going to spoil you.
So yeah, just if you're on here personally, you can easily click the edit your page and upload a photo. We're not going to go through that too much simply because we got to get through it. But again, if you have any specific questions about setting up your Twitter account, please feel free to email us afterwards.
Yeah, we're happy to walk you through those. Some of it it's a little overwhelming because it's not the way we're used to communicating, but it's gotten to be such a good way to communicate, especially on issues. When you're trying to change policy, it's all about Twitter. So can we go to what? Oh, look at all this.
You guys are awesome. And again, if you're on the right-hand side of the screen, you see them coming in even more. So I want to make sure to show you where to find a list of legislators on CAMP Twitter, because we talked about that a little bit. So if you're looking at CAMP's page, you're on this page. From your personal page, that's fine, but you're looking at CAMP, you can click this list right here.
Okay, and let's go to...
And you can find right here is California legislators, and you can just go through and click on members and follow.
So this is just clickety click, click, click. You just go through and follow. And then they're all going to be in your list. So when you send out something, it's going to go to them too. They're going to see it. Or they're going to have access to see it.
And right up here where I just clicked this notifications, that's what happens when somebody tags you. So imagine every time you're tagging a legislator, they get that notification. So CAMP gets a notification every time they're tagged. Great.
Oh my gosh. You guys are doing great. All right. Well, and I like, Jeffrey, I like that you put full practice authority. That's a great hashtag too. Okay, so I know that this is quick, and it's not like we're really doing an in-depth thing, but this is specifically about promoting an issue and getting policy and decision makers to hear you.
Okay, actually, so let's pause for a minute and see what the Twitter questions are. And similar to Facebook, anytime a post is shared or commented on or engaged, it can reach even more people. Twitter, we tend to get much larger, quicker followings on Twitter, so it's really powerful to keep these fast-paced conversations going. In fact, I want to just kind of keep this screen open for a minute while we talk about Twitter questions, because I think this is just so awesome to watch everybody tweet. And please keep tweeting. These tweets about SB 323 do not need to stay confined to this webinar. This is such a huge, awesome conversation. And again, it's power in numbers, and Twitter is a great platform to share that power on.
So again, go to that legislators page and find your own legislators and post any one of these posts that you have here onto, and tag your legislator in that post, like Pam Monroe, you have at Dr. Pan, MD. He's going to see that, and he's somebody that has to be convinced. So if everybody retweets Pam Monroe's tweet right there, Dr. Pan is going to get how many messages? 50 tweets, and he's going to go, what's happening? Who are these people? And why do I care about this? And then you can start a conversation with them and slowly push them. On lists, as you go through and you follow, you're just going to build your following too. You can also find other NPs. Like as you're on this page right now, you can follow each of the people that's on this webinar and know that they're aligned with you, and you're going to have a lot in common with them. So it's good to have them on a list of your own, as maybe you start a list that's fellow NPs. And then anytime you want to work together and collaborate on some message, that, let's say let's gang up on Dr. Pan, then you can talk to them all and say, okay, he needs a couple of nudges. You can talk to them on Twitter, and it can all be private.
This is great watching you all tweet. This is so fun.
Uh-oh. Something happened. Okay, go ahead.
Are there any Twitter questions?
We do have a couple here. I don't know, this one, I don't know if it's instructions as much as looking for a tip, asking how to keep from being overwhelmed by all those one is following. There's no way I can really read them all.
Yeah, so that's where lists come in really handy. So I mentioned earlier, let's just go with everybody that you're following. Your page can get a little overwhelming. Like, I don't necessarily need to see every single thing that The Hill is posting or the New York Times is posting. So what we do is we create these lists, as I mentioned earlier, and here's just a couple examples of some of the lists that we have. So we can pull up our corporate partners or our MP schools and see what they're saying. We can look at CAMP 38, some of the attendees that are really active on Twitter, and see what they're saying. Again, we can look at California legislators. So these lists on Twitter help us kind of section off some of the people that we're following so that we don't get so overwhelmed. I know that I'm focusing on SB 323 right now, so I'm going to regularly check what people are saying in the California legislators list or in the NP members list.
So I have a question for her. Can you open the legislators list and search for hashtag SB 323?
You cannot search within lists.
Or can you list them and just get your legislators, which legislators are talking about it?
Yeah, by clicking on SB 323, you can see everybody who's talking about it, including legislators.
But you can't sort them out.
No.
Okay. So when we talk about hashtag SB 323, we're talking about the people that are talking pro about it and the people that are talking con about it. So it's a good place to see where people are against it, and then you can start tweeting them and saying, well, why do you feel that way? I don't agree with that, and this is why. And you can start those conversations so that you can start moving the conversation a little bit more towards your way of thinking.
Awesome photo. I do want to point out that because So it's completely up to you if you have it public or private, but if you have a private account, and that shows with that little lock here, people can't retweet it. So if your goal is to have people retweet or comment on your post, you want to make sure that your profile is public.
So you want to unlock that. And Donna, the people that lock their Twitter are usually, there's a fear factor that people are going to take over their account, but Twitter is really this open, transparent vehicle so that what you're pushing out there you can have as public. If you want to have private lists, you can set private lists also.
Any other Twitter questions?
I've got just one more here that this doesn't sound familiar to me. Let's see how it sounds to you. When you see the pink line via Twitter, what does that mean? How many words, characters in a tweet?
You get 140 characters in a tweet. That includes all spaces. It's characters, so that there's not a word limit, there's a character limit. I'm not sure what the pink line is referring to. If you, whoever's asking that question, if you want to take a screenshot of that and email it to me at ladra@uptownstudios.net, I would be happy to take a look and see if I can better answer your question.
Oh, good job, Melanie. That's a nice one. Any other questions?
How do you unrestrict your Twitter? I guess that's unlocking.
Okay.
Yeah, so in your settings, you should be able to. So in your settings over here, you have all of these security and privacy options. So in security and privacy, I'm not going to go into this too much in sharing all the CAPs, but if you go into your settings, which again you can do right here, click on your icon settings, and you can walk through each of your privacy settings and make sure that your profile is public.
Yeah, especially when you have great pictures like that. You want people to share them. Any others? Any other questions?
So then in order to unlock it, you then make it public. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Very good. We have one question that I think there's maybe some personal consultation we should probably take offline.
Okay.
And there is another one related to LinkedIn, which I see that you're moving towards shortly.
Yes.
So I'll hold on to that one.
Okay, if you're ready for LinkedIn, then we'll just go there. And we know that this is really fast, and but that's the way Twitter is. It's a magical way. It's the best marketing tool that we know of. In the past, you would have to write a letter and hand address it and put it in the mailbox and send it to them and hope that they responded. This is instantaneous. And if you're talking to your legislators, I can guarantee that they're looking at your post because they know how important this is. Okay, shall we go to?
Are you ready for us to go to LinkedIn?
Yes.
See, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, so we're just going to go.
All right. So we're going to quickly go through LinkedIn and Instagram because it is already 7:47 and we want to be respectful of your night. But again, please do not hesitate to ask us questions after. You can email us or tag us at Uptown Studios on Twitter and we'll answer there. So LinkedIn. LinkedIn has several different kinds of pages similar to Facebook. You can have your personal profile, a business page, and there are also groups. We encourage everybody to go follow the CAMP company page, but there are also group pages, and if you are in a chapter, we encourage you to find your group page if there is one on LinkedIn and to engage there with your other group members or to start one. Definitely converse with your group before starting one to make sure there isn't one already in existence because it's really helpful if you all are on the same one rather than sectioning off and starting different group pages.
And so how would they find a group?
I would email. You can just search within LinkedIn, and it'll tell you. So if you search California Association for Nurse Practitioners, it'll show you the related groups as well as the company page. But I would also, like I said, make sure to check in with whoever is sort of heading the communications at your chapter if that's how they're structured. So engagement on LinkedIn, very similar to Facebook and Twitter. We encourage you to go follow the pages. Here's our company pages. We encourage you to connect with fellow members. We encourage you to like posts, share posts, comment on posts. It's very similar to the other channels. LinkedIn is much more of a business-to-business page, so it's not going to be that fast-paced conversation like Twitter and Facebook, but it's still a really great page for sharing kind of that business message. And these group pages in particular are really great for organizing your group and communicating the importance of the different measures or bills that you're advocating for.
So when we're talking about these three channels, Facebook is like the family page where you're talking about your family and you have family pictures and you have pictures of your food. Twitter is like going to a bar and it's fast-paced and you stop in there and you see a bunch of friends and let's go on to the next place. And LinkedIn is very much business. So the language that we use on each of those pages is a little different. On Facebook, it's going to be geared towards families because more families are going to see it. On Twitter, it's very fast-paced and short and to the point. And on LinkedIn, it's very business-like. So you want to have your business manners on when you're on a LinkedIn page.
And awesome work, Golden Gate Chapter R7 for having a group profile. This is really cool. And if you have a private group page, the conversation is just between members of that group. So you can use these pages to have one place for every group member to go to and converse with each other. So it's a really nice way of keeping the conversation going. The public pages are more where you would spread the messages of advocacy more widespread.
So if you wanted to strategize, it would be good to have a group page like Golden Gate, where you can have conversations within your group that are not published to the rest of LinkedIn. So you can have some strategy sessions on LinkedIn.
Are there any LinkedIn questions before I move on to Instagram?
There's just one here. It asks about tweeting and using the, I think it's specifically about using hashtags on LinkedIn. Is that something that can be done?
No. So you can enter them, but they won't link to anything. They don't function within LinkedIn like they do within Facebook and Twitter. And even within Facebook, the hashtags are a little bit more limited because there are so many different privacy settings on Facebook that you won't necessarily see every other person who is using the hashtag. So we still see hashtags most effectively being used in Twitter and Instagram, which is the next channel we're going to talk about, but they do not function within LinkedIn anymore. They once did, and that's a change that LinkedIn has made.
That's it?
That's it for LinkedIn.
Okay.
So Instagram. Instagram is the newest channel that CAMP is on. If you have an Instagram, I highly encourage you to go follow CAMP and to share your pictures of you meeting with legislators or you out there advocating for SB 323. Again, use the hashtag SB 323 and we'll be able to see it if you have a public profile. If you tag California MPs, so it is a little bit different on Instagram. It's at California MPs, plural, rather than just MP as it is on Twitter. So make sure to note that. But if you tag CAMP on Instagram, we can see your post and we can share it just like we did with this most recent image. If you look in the visual there, that's a regram. So we can share photos on Instagram as well. And Instagram's growing. We're particularly looking to reach nurse practitioner students because that's one of the large demographics on Instagram, but it's growing. I mean, this is one of the next big channels, and I think most of us who are on Instagram really see that. And the photo-based sharing is really great for advocacy.
Well, and it is the thing that people look at. If you share a Instagram photo on your Facebook, you're going to get more clicks on that than you will on just content. So photos are really excellent. And if you want to do short videos, those are even better because like in Facebook, they automatically start playing. And if it's a short enough one, people will see the end of it.
And Instagram really thrives off of hashtags. It's a way of reaching a larger audience. So similar to Twitter, when you're on Instagram, if somebody uses the hashtag SB323 and then you click on it, you will open up a feed of all of the other posts that have used that hashtag. So I highly encourage you to use the hashtag SB323 on your Instagram posts. If they relate, you can also use the hashtag nurse practitioner or full practice authority, very similar to Twitter. Are there any Instagram questions? I know that was a pretty brief talk about Instagram. It's a really great channel, and I love the photo-based sharing, and I definitely see some NPs on there. So we've been having fun growing CAMP's Instagram, and we look forward to watching it grow even more, and I hope that everybody on this call that has Instagram is busily following CAMP right now.
We do have one Instagram question, and it's something that I've wondered myself. Why use Instagram when one can post photos on Twitter and Facebook?
Because one channel just isn't enough. Now, they're constantly trying to find new channels and new ways to communicate, and again, they're different audiences and different languages, so it's really, when you're deciding which one to use personally, it is a personal preference. As a company, we want to make sure to, or an organization, whoever we're advocating for, we want to make sure to be on all of them because we know that members are using different ones. Each individual member may have their own preference. So I personally love Instagram. I'm on Instagram because I want to see pictures with all content. And that's really what Instagram is geared towards, is it's really showing what they're doing.
There's a
show me, don't tell me.
Yeah, it's a photo with every post. Also, the demographics on Instagram tend to be a little bit younger, although Ladra and I are at the bookends of the generation. I'm 66 and I love Instagram because I get to see the pictures, and she's
26.
26, and she's, yeah, I hate her just a little bit. She's on the other end, and she likes it because it is what she grew up with. I mean, she started using this, it's the day it started, the day she started. So if you want to continue to grow your ranks and include the students and the young nurse practitioners, you need to have all of the channels. So that's why we have expanded to Instagram.
Any other Instagram questions?
No Instagram questions. I have a couple of general ones that we'll hold for the end.
Okay.
Perfect. We're there. We're on that question slide. So any of the questions that didn't get answered during the specific sessions or sections or channels, whatever you want to call it, we're open to them now.
Sure. As I say, I've got a couple here, and folks, while we have a few minutes left, there's still a little bit of time left for you to get in any questions that you may have. While you're contemplating that, we'll go to this one. How do you develop a hashtag?
Let's go to Twitter.
So anyone can create a hashtag. I'm going to go back over to Twitter. You simply create a hashtag by typing in the pound sign and then hashtag. So California, and it'll pull up for you, as you can see, ones that are being used. But you can use whatever you want. The only thing that I recommend is researching that first, because as you can see, all of these, what they have in common is they're using SB 323. It would be different if I did Senate Bill 323. So now there's one person that's used that hashtag, and it's not even from this year. So you want to make sure that when you are using a hashtag, to research if it's already trending, because that's how you're going to join the conversation.
Because you don't have to start a new conversation if there's something that's already going that's having your conversation. You can join it, position yourself, and eventually you can lead the conversation. And it's something that you just joined, because then the more active people tend to take over the leadership of a hashtag.
And I will tell you, we saw people starting to tweet SB 323 this year and instantly jumped on it, but there are previous tweets with SB 323 associated to them. You do not own a hashtag when you use it. Anybody can enter this conversation and say whatever they have to say about SB 323, whether it's related to the Senate bill or not. So that's why it's really important that we continue to populate this conversation with the important messages about SB 323.
Yeah. Okay, any others?
Okay, we have another question. It says, could you please clarify the pros of private message option, sending a private message to legislators?
Well, the con is that it's not transparent. The pro is that if you do need to have a private conversation, if you don't want to make them feel bad in public, and you want to begin a conversation, then the pro would be to have a private conversation so that you're not slamming them, seeming like you're the nemesis, but having a private conversation, you could begin to have a conversation and say, these are some things that we're going to start, and we'd like to have a conversation with you before we start them.
And I really look at the private message. Often that's going to be the educational message. You're starting the conversation, you're building that relationship, you're hoping that you're going to educate them into supporting SB 323. And then when it turns into that public message, it's taking that advocacy a little bit wider. It's really making it public advocacy so you can get other people to join in and give them the option of responding publicly. But I still think that the private meetings and the private messages for an educational purpose are very important.
So as a follow-up, so you could privately thank them for a vote that they may not want to be public. I guess any vote ends up public, of course.
Yeah, right. When you're thanking someone, I think it is make it public. They want that thank you to be public, and their vote is public. So if you're thanking a legislator for supporting SB 323, absolutely tweet that out, make it public, post it on their Facebook page.
Yeah. They're going to read it. I'm telling you, they're going to read it.
Okay.
You guys are still tweeting.
That looks to be, let me see, one more.
Woo! There you go.
Yeah.
Nice picture, Cynthia.
Not really clear. There's one last follow-up to that question about the private versus public messaging to a legislator about their vote. Following up saying, but before the vote is actually cast and they are indicating that they will support. I think just generally speaking, we're emphasizing the importance of publicly acknowledging and or possibly even publicly calling out about their position so as to advance the conversation.
Right. Right, you want to advance the conversation. So I think that we're very close to the end, but I do think that Ledra and I are going to be invited to have some more trainings at conferences. So look for us coming up at some of the next year's items, and we will dig deeper with you and really get you to be the professionals and advocates for your profession.
Very good. Well, with that, we've come to the end of our program. I would really like to thank Tina and Ledra for being with us tonight and for all the great work they're doing on behalf of CANP. I'd also like to thank each of you for taking part in tonight's program. We certainly look forward to you utilizing your newfound knowledge to advance the conversation in support of Senate Bill 323. And lastly, once again, I'd like to remind you about an important opportunity to really get involved in the cause, to advocate, and to participate in grassroots outreach. And that is coming next week on Tuesday when we host CANP Lobby Day 2015 here in Sacramento. Again, that's on Tuesday. Online registration for Lobby Day closes at midnight tonight. So you have until midnight tonight to go ahead and register and secure your spot. However, I will advise you that if you're pondering the decision, there will still be on-site registration available during Lobby Day. That will carry a registration fee of $50. So I highly recommend that you get on board, get ready to join the cause, and add your voice to the cause by registering for Lobby Day online prior to the online registration deadline, which is midnight tonight. Visit our website at canpweb.org for more details. That concludes our program. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
Good night.